With both indie and traditionally published authors expecting to build a platform, they often get discouraged when they see minimal growth in that area. Sometimes it causes them to lose all motivation to stay on social media or even finish writing their book. Now, I personally have struggled with the whole social media building platform, algorithm, all of that over the years. But thankfully, God has placed Ruthie Gray in my path. And so I am pleased today to have her here with us as a guest on Ink and Impact. Ruthie Gray is a wife, Gigi, empty nester, and marketing coach for Christian female entrepreneurs and specializes in Instagram and newsletter strategies. Her hobbies include Florida beach walks, RVing with her hubby, and creating fun hashtags like hashtag Gigi Rules. Ruthie is the founder of the Authentic Online Marketing School and Insider Mentorship and podcasts at Authentic Online Marketing. So easy, your mom can do it. Welcome, Ruthie.
Thank you for having me, Daleen. This is fun.
It is fun. I have just learned so much from you over the past year or so that I have known you and have been inside your mentorship. And I'm just so thrilled to be able to bring you to our listeners because I know they're going to glean a lot from what you have to say today. I wanted to give just a little bit more background for our listeners. One thing you didn't mention in your bio is that you started out as a blogger and that you have written two books of your own, two parenting books. Is that correct?
Mhm. Yes, it is.
Okay, so you know firsthand about the process and struggle of writing a book and building a platform, right?
Yes, I'm well familiar.
And one thing I want to highlight too is that your Christian faith is also important to you, which is what attracted me to you and your program on Instagram, especially. And so, as you were blogging and growing and building, writing books, building an audience, and everything, I was wondering if there was a particular verse in the Bible that you really leaned heavily on during that time.
Oh, I leaned heavily on wisdom verses,
Mm.
all the wisdom verses. I lived in Psalms a lot, but really, I always go back to Joshua 1:8. This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you will meditate on it day and night.
Mm.
And then you'll make your way prosperous, then you'll have good success. That was the Lord's encouragement to Joshua, who was supposed to take over the land and claim the land. And we can claim that promise in our own lives when we know that God has called us to something. And way back there, many moons ago, when I started that blog and I knew that God had asked me to write and to be public, I was scared. Didn't want to do it. I wanted to write, but I didn't want really anyone to know about me.
Isn't that the truth? It's such a conundrum.
It's so crazy. It's really, it is. It's like, and I run into writers like that all the time and authors, they're like, I know I should build a platform on Instagram, but I really don't want people to, I don't want to be public.
Right. Which is a shame because, as we know, books can make an impact. They can really positively impact our readers. And, that's one question that I always ask my guests is what is one book in addition to the Bible that has impacted you in some way?
Well, um, there is one main one besides the Bible. And one other thing I did want to say about that verse was I always go back to the Bible. And whatever I do, it is my regular practice and has been for years, even more so now, to seek the Lord every morning in His Word and prayer, because that's the only way that I'm going to know what to do. But besides that, my accompanying book that is often right next to, I keep it right next to my Bible, is The Attributes of God by A.W. Tozer.
Mm.
And anybody who's followed me on Instagram for any length of time watch my stories will see snapshots of that every once in a while,
Okay.
because I think it's important to understand God's character and to believe it.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's a great one. Thank you for sharing that. And it's such I ask guests to share their books that have impacted them as an encouragement to other writers out there, because God has given you a calling for your story, for your book, for a reason. And it's to impact people. It's to share his truth with them in whatever genre you're writing, fiction, nonfiction. He has you there for a purpose, and it is to spread his word, spread his gospel, spread his truth to readers and encourage them and impact them. So thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
So, all right, we know that books can truly impact people, but sometimes reaching those people, our audience, is a big hurdle. But there's one main consideration that you teach, Ruthie, to overcome that hurdle, and that is to be authentic. And I was wondering if you could explain what you mean by authentic online marketing.
Way back when I first started teaching marketing, I realized that is a word that I wanted to be linked with, was authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
Because only you can say your truth the way you can say it. Only you can say your message. And so to be authentic is going to be staying true to your own standards for how you want to present yourself, but also who you are as a person, because people purchase from the person.
Sure.
And they get to know, like, and trust you first. And that's what we teach on Instagram, is that's really how you're going to stand out from the crowd, is by embracing your own unique voice. I always say at the end of my podcast, remember to share your message in your own voice, in your own authentic way, because there are people out there that will resonate with that. They're waiting for you. They don't know it, but they're waiting for you, because only you have those little nuances in your personality, and or your sense of humor, or the way you teach, or even the little things that you do behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Those all matter.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know whenever I was first learning this from you, it's a little intimidating to,
Mm-hmm.
be it's vulnerable to put yourself
Mm-hmm.
out there and show your true self. And especially whenever I first started back, when Instagram started, it was all about the prettiness. Everything was supposed to be picture perfect and pretty. And there's still a lot of that. But so my whole back at that time was, well, I don't have the pretty backgrounds and I don't have the pretty lighting. I don't have the perfect lighting. And so there were a lot of excuses on my end. So what would you say to people who have all these types of excuses?
That's why I'm here. I want you to start where you are. You can't wait till it's perfect. If you look at my grid, it is not perfect. I am a real person trying to teach real people that don't have it all together in the technology wise,
Mhm.
that you can start where you are at any level.
Mhm.
So just start. There are simple ways that you can improve, like standing in good lighting, just natural lighting. That's one easy fix. Or stand outside, but you have to start where you are. And you can also create boundaries of what you're not going to share. You don't have to share all your dirty laundry. You don't have to share everything about your life
Right.
at all. You can have the boundaries, but you do need to determine what you are going to share,
Right.
because people connect with a person.
That's right. That's right. And as authors, the natural instinct is to share about your book. And you want to share about your book and you want to share those behind the scenes about writing. But would you also recommend that people share a little bit about themselves?
I do. I
Okay.
100% do. Um, how do you get inspiration for writing? Maybe you take a daily walk. You take a little snapshot of your walk, or a little video, or a reel, or a story. um, how do you fit in writing around caregiving, or or babysitting grandkids, or even parenting, or as a teen mom like you are? um, just little things like that. I have had people follow me because they've seen pictures of me with my mom or my dad in doctors' offices and waiting rooms and things like that. That's behind the scenes.
Mhm.
I fit in my work life around caregiving. So if you can portray yourself as, yeah, I'm a real person, because people, again, they want to know about your book and about what you do once they really understand you as a person.
Yeah.
There is a personal connection there that needs to be made.
And I think that's really important too when you're first starting out and you might not have your first book published yet, but it's in the works. And so it's never too early to start building your platform, and especially getting visible on social media. So that's an easy way to start building that platform and being authentic, and start getting some followers. So let's say someone is in that instance, they're an aspiring author working on their first draft and first book, and they just get on Instagram, or maybe they've been there but for a while, but they've never really done anything with it. How would they go about engaging with others to help build their platform?
Um, it's good to get in a group if you can. We have a free Facebook group called Authentic Instagram Engagement. You can go in there, mix and mingle. We have communication threads or questions. We have share threads once a week. Um, find your people that go with a group of colleagues. You can go in other Facebook groups and connect with them, but you need to not just drop your link and run. You need to actually go over and visit these people and look through their friends and their followers and start connecting with them. And if you think that they're like your ideal audience or someone you want to get to know, you have to be social on social media. You can also do this through um, terms like SEO terms, books, writers, hashtag Christian writers. Find them through hashtags. There are many ways to do it, but you have to spend the time doing it.
Right. And by connecting with them, that could be commenting on a post that they have or a reel that they've posted, and you've watched the reel and you make a comment about something you appreciated about that reel, right?
Mhm.
Or if they have a story, you can send a comment to the story about what you liked about it. Or if they're asking a question or a poll in their story, you respond to that, and you become their follower, and you don't stalk them, and do something for everything that they do. But over time, you get to be, you get on their radar, and
Mhm.
then they might follow you back. And then again, it just, one connection leads to another connection leads to another
Mhm.
connection, is what I've found. Would you agree with that?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely, 100%. You just, create 10 minutes a day just to do that, just to network, because every connection does make a difference.
Mhm.
People know other people.
Right.
You have to network. That's how you make it in the online marketing world. You
Mhm.
must network and you must support other people. It's not just all about you. It has
Right.
to be,
Yeah.
it's a unifying process.
Yeah. And I think we and we know intuitively that it's not about us, and but as we're striving to grow this platform, especially if we're wanting to become traditionally published, and those agents and publishers are saying you have to have these 5-figure numbers or more to get published with them, the focus obviously then turns inward, right? And you're starting to narrow your focus about yourself. And so what I want to encourage you, and I think Ruthie, you would agree too, is to not just focus on yourself, not just focus on the numbers, but focus on creating relationships and, like you'd said, being authentic about your process and those behind the scenes kind of things. Yeah.
Trust the process. That is part of the process. And if you are, if you're bringing it to the Lord daily and you're relying on Him to help you get your message out, if you do the work, right. And if you are truly a team player, others minded, if you're sharing, then it's going to come back to you and God is going to bless you in His time.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I love how you lead by example over on Instagram and everything, because if something changes with the algorithm or IG decides to drop something or do something, you're like throwing up your hands with the rest of us. But then you say, well, let's not throw in the towel, let's just figure out what to do next. So if an author listening has gotten to that point where they're just throwing up their hands in frustration, they just want to walk away, what are some things that you would recommend that they consider before walking away?
I have a lot of feelings about Instagram right now, but if you will be consistent, that's the thing. A lot of people, they think going viral is the ticket. That's not really the ticket. The ticket is being consistent, consistently showing up, networking and being social on social media, developing relationships, seeing who you can help. It's not just about you, it's about others too. If you will be consistent, then and commit to a schedule that you can commit to. If it's 3 times a week, it's 3 times a week. If it's 1 time a week, do that. Try to do 2 to 3 times a week. Instagram loves Instagram and it wants people on the app all the time. And we obviously can't do that.
Right.
But there are some things that you can do. And the first one is maintain consistency. The second one is build in time for engagement. The third one is do something simple, which is stories. You can do stories 3 to 5 times a week. That's simply sharing your post to your story and then talking a little bit about it, or sharing some behind the scenes. It doesn't have to be a lot, right? But just be faithful. And if at all possible, get in a group that can help you know what to do, like ours, like the mentorship.
Yes, I will say that being in a group has made all the difference in the world for me. I haven't gone viral or anything like that, and that's okay, but I have made so many fabulous connections, so many friendships, and those connections have led to other connections. Like you said, it's just, and it's encouragement. We all need encouragement. And it's weekly, sometimes daily encouragement that we need, and it's right there in groups. So yeah, I encourage anyone, if you're not on IG, find one on Facebook or even in LinkedIn, wherever you're at, there are groups. So test the waters, test a few of them out. Not all of them are created equal, but just make sure that you're finding ones that share your Christian values, that will support authors and support you. Yeah, those are great tips, Ruthie. Let me just scroll down here. I know you've shared so many tips and things with us. And if you have one more, you feel free to drop it. If you don't, that's okay. But was there anything else that you tip, especially with IG for authors?
Just know this ties into writing too, because I'm a writer too. Just know that you're not wasting your time when you're crafting an Instagram post that really says something, because that is also building your writing craft. Back a million years ago when I started writing my blog, I was pouring my guts out, but I didn't know if I was doing it right. And when I go back and read some of those blog posts, I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I kept writing, because wow, there's an improvement there. And
Yeah.
yet, through your Instagram post, through your email list, be building that email list.
Yes.
Um, and that is another way that you can really improve your writing craft, because I feel like, honestly, committing to that email list for me, it's every week, but it might be every month for you, or every 2 weeks. By doing that, you are building a writing discipline there too, and you will get better
Mm.
as you go, but you must do it. You must do the work. So,
Mhm.
never stop writing, and never stop honing your craft, whether it's on Instagram or wherever you write.
Right. Oh, that is such a good point. I'm so glad you mentioned that. And I was thinking too, while you were speaking, that it's not a waste of time on those social posts either when you're sharing an important truth, right? An important
Mhm.
message. So many times I'll be like, oh, I don't know if I should have taken the time to do that. And then someone will direct message me, oh, that's exactly what I needed to hear at that moment, or something like that. So, you know, even if you just reach one person, that's one person that was worth
Yes.
your time. So, very good
Yes.
point. Great. Well, I know you mentioned a lot of different terminologies, so like, reels and stories and posts and all of that. So you are the Instagram go-to. So if anyone has any questions about that, I highly encourage you to check out Ruthie Gray and her authentic online marketing. But I also know, when you're talking about stories, that you have a special challenge coming up. Do you want to share that with anybody?
I would love to. It's a 30-day challenge. It's only stories. Now, you, of course, are welcome to sneak in a post here and there if you want. I don't care. But I am doing this kind of as a test starting October 3rd. I have a link I can give Daleen that you can sign up for all the information. I'm doing some reels too this week. At the time that we're talking, it's around I don't know, I think it's the 23rd of September.
Yes.
But the challenge goes for 30 days, starting October 3rd. You can hop in at any time, and we're doing stories every day. I have a method to my madness, but it's going to simplify things for you, and it's going to help you create content ongoing.
Oh,
And
that's
there
great.
are ways that non followers can find you through stories. And we're going to talk all about it. You're going to get a download immediately when you sign up for the challenge of 5 ways that non followers can see your stories and find you. And it's going to be amazing. It's going to be
Oh,
so much fun. It's going to
yes.
simplify your life for 30 days.
Well, I know I'm excited. I'm going to be joining you. So we'll see
Yay.
how this goes. But yeah, so if any of our listeners here want to connect with you about the Stories Challenge, or about your mentorship or anything like that, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Follow me on Instagram at Authentic Online Marketing Pod.
Okay.
That's the best way.
All right. And that, of course, will be included, a link to that in the show notes. And that will wrap up our time today. Ruthie, I am so thankful that you were able to join us. It's been a pleasure.
Well, I always love talking to you, Daleen.
Yeah.
You are like a steady voice of reason in this mad world of writing, and you're always kind of gently directing writers. Don't freak out. This is what you can do next. And so I so appreciate you, and I'm just thrilled that you're part of my community.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and go out there, write your books, and make an impact.